Wine of the year, it's always a tough one, but inevitably, there's usually a handful of wines that sort of stand out at the end of the year when it comes to sort of assembling the wines. And, we go back and we always do a tasting, and this year there was probably about 15 wines in that lineup. And, there was a wine that sort of stuck out. I went to Vin Italy, sort of 12 months earlier, and I just remember going in the Chianti Consorzio tasting and sort of going through a whole range of wines. And, back then, I think we looked at probably 120 wines in our sort of, 3 or 4 hour slot at the Consorzio. And, I remember Castellare, really sort of standing out for its purity, for its elegance, for its fineness, its intensity. And even after you've tasted kind of, 30 or 40 other examples of Chianti, Sangiovese at sort of 10 o'clock in the morning isn't always the most forgiving grape variety. And, this wine just sort of stuck out for its, as I said, its purity and its elegance and its fineness. And when we went through those 15 wines at the end of the year and sort of looked back at, our favourite wines for the year, it did the same thing again, pushed all the same buttons. And, I sort of, the more I'd sort of looked into the estate and what Paolo Panerai had sort of done, and, the fact that they'd sort of, they'd classified their estate as, as sort of almost an animal refuge in some ways as well. There's no hunting allowed on the estate. They do things largely by sort of really ecologically and environmentally sound practices, and I thought that was worth highlighting. So for that reason, Castellare Chianti Classico 2007 was our wine of the year. I mean, I think the thing that really stands out when you look at this wine is that it's very pure snapshot of Sangiovese. You get all those sort of smells and those flavours that you'd kind of come to expect from the best examples. So Morello cherries, plums, leather, bit of licorice, that sort of dried tobacco kind of character as well. But no one thing in particular really sort of standing out. It's just beautifully knit at this point in its evolution, as it was kind of 18 months ago when we sort of first got a chance to see it. So beautifully balanced, elegant, on the palate. It's got a softness to it, but it's still got those really lovely, chalky, drying Sangiovese tannins, really lovely acidity. For that reason, great drink on its own, but fantastic with food as well. And, my dream desert island dish is kind of bistecca florentina or something like that, a big piece of meat that's been char-grilled over coals, and I'd probably want nothing more than sort of a glass of that to go alongside.